We're going to do the drawing with a $25 gift card for Jackson Harbor Soup. So let's see. Oh, I know who should do it. I think there's a birthday boy here. Oh, Tricia! You want to get part to Jackson Harbor Soup? Yeah. Okay, everyone, we're going to get started here with some announcements, and then we're going to welcome our speaker today. Thank you all for coming out. What a wonderful turnout. I don't think I've ever seen the room this full in my life at one of our luncheons, so thank you for supporting this program. You guys make it. We just organize it, but you guys come in, and that's what we want to do. And we have some first-timers, so thank you to the coming. Will you all come back? I have a few brief announcements, and Bunny's got some stuff for you. Just a reminder, the well study is still going on. You can still register through tomorrow. And the pickup will be the beginning of April, the 5th and 6th, and we'll be the ones collecting that at the White Chip office. It's the well study. Usually most homeowners get one in the mail too from the county. I did, but if you want to have your well tested.
Water well.
No, not well. Well water. Your well water tested. Sorry. All right. The peanut gallery back there can be quiet. We have public health coming on Thursday, April 4th. If you need any vaccines, give them a call or go online to register. They do not come if we do not have people scheduled. Coming up, we have our open house, which is where we do an open house resource fair. We get a lot of different organizations on island and off to attend. This room was filled last year, probably the most we've ever had. So we hope you can join us for that to learn more about the services that they provide and people we work with. So we have these little save the dates if you want to save the date on your calendar. It's on Friday, June 21st from 11 to 1 right here in New York. And then just a reminder, we have our calendar of events still for March if you're interested. And then coming up in April, and Bunny's going to hit on some of this, we have our April calendar of events. So if you want to take one of these so you know what's going on, just put it on your fridge and you'll know everything that we're doing. And I think that's it, except I do also still have COVID tests up here. If anybody wants any, please feel free to help yourself. And it's going over to Bunny now. Okay. Welcome again, still. Okay, hope you enjoyed your meal. I think it was really, really yummy. Yeah, anyway. Okay, I want to talk about things, upcoming things, but what I have found is that there are 13 places on the island that we list, 13 places where we hang posters about the upcoming events. The churches, Wisco, the Red Cup, the Albatross, the electric company, the Mercantile, KK's, the Community Center, the Rec Center, Trinity, Bethel, and both buildings at Belcomen. So every once in a while, maybe just check to see what's going on, because sometimes I hear that people would have come, but they didn't know what was happening. Okay, to that point, upcoming events. Wednesday, April 10th, will be our next CCC, which is Coffee, Cookies, and Conversation. It's at the Rec Center, for those of you who have not come yet. It's Wednesdays, 10 to 12. Everybody's welcome, and it's free. And I've heard there's some really dynamite chocolate chip cookies there. Okay, and we talk, and we do some trivia, and it's just very relaxing and fun. On Thursday, April 18th, we will
we'll have another luncheon, and that's from 12 to 1:30, and then our speaker is on senior life solutions, and the topic will be depression. So, on May 16th, I sense a theme here. On May 16th, our speaker will be speaking on Dementia 101, but you know, we're older. On June 7th, this is a biggie, on June 7th, we have the picnic with the school. And we have that at the Red Barn, and everybody is invited. And it's such fun to see the kids out just in a relaxed atmosphere. So please mark that on our calendar, or look for the posters that are posted. Okay. On the table, you have our regular white chip survey, and then there's another survey there that I don't really understand. So, to that point, where's Roxanne at? There she is. Okay, she's going to talk to you about it, and then I have one thing to say.
Okay, my name's Roxanne, and I feel very honored to be on the board for the Aging and Disability Center and the board for the Nutrition Coalition down in the county representing the island. Because you don't know how many times I have to say, it doesn't quite work that way up there. But they are doing an aging thing for the whole county. There are 2 counties in Wisconsin with the oldest people, and it's our Door County, and there's one other one. So they're just boxes to check off, but they would greatly appreciate it, just getting a little feedback for them. And I just appreciate that they want our feedback. Thank you.
And one final announcement. We have a birthday boy here today.
And a girl.
Who's small? Okay, and a girl. Okay. So I'm going, we're going to sing happy birthday. I'm going to turn off the mic so you don't hear me sing it, but let's sing happy birthday to Leon and to Roxanne. Okay, ready? Okay.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Leon. Happy birthday to you.
You came out to learn about the new radio station, and so that's what's going to happen now. Emily and Matt are going to tell you about it. We're going to try to see if they can project loud enough that they don't need to use the microphone. Therefore, I will be in charge of the microphone, and if you have a question, I will come over to you, and you can use the microphone to ask the question. So we're going to try it. If it doesn't work, then they'll just use the microphone. Okay?
I think I can project.
Good morning, everybody. I know I can. So, first and foremost, I think Sally will join me in saying this. You sang in the same key. That was nice. That's impressive. So, I'm going to start with a little bit of introduction of how this program kind of started, how we went into this. I'm going to assume that none of you have listened to our launch committee recording that was on the station, so there's going to be some overlap of the things, those of you who have. So I became the radio station is under the umbrella of the Trueblood Performing Arts Center, and I became a board member of the Trueblood Performing Arts Center. I was thinking in my head as I was sitting there listening, I believe fall of 2022. And then this committee formed not to do radio station work. This committee actually formed to address some of the needs of the TPAC as a facility brick and mortar structure. And then we shifted gears for a variety of reasons to the radio station work, and that happened September of 2022. And then we moved, and we have spent about a year and a half preparing for the launch that happened in February. So that's the basic start of this process. We decided, for a very practical reason, that going via the internet was more feasible and faster than a terrestrial, but we have the absolute goal, and we have received official FCC approval to put up a transmitter for a low power FM, and our location that we are 95% sure we have locked up will cover the entire area. So, that's the initial step. Am I covering one thing, sir?
Well,
Oh, me.
what's your personal interest in the radio station?
There we go. There's the recorder. There's the recorder. This is why our island scoop works so well. She keeps me on task. So, I was telling my table, I started to get into recording work about 15 or so years ago when one of my best friends from high school, who is a singer-songwriter, came to me and went, "What do you think about starting a recording studio?" And I was like, "How much do you think it would cost?" He gave me a number, we bought some equipment, and we went rolling. And then we slowly but surely, more me than him, but you know, that's a side note, have upgraded the equipment. So since Peter did an interview and he's here today, and Lauren does, and Emily does interviews with me right away, we are working on some fairly high-end recording equipment that allows us to stream and then put it straight onto our website, and then the radio website, which is called radio.com. So.
My involvement, Matt approached me in fall, asking if I wanted to get involved with the committee from a basis of writing, so, script writing, helping people put together shows in that sense, but also things like bylaws, communication, grant writing. We did write for a grant last fall that we did not receive, but we have pretty good intel or feeling that we will. We have to work on it and then resubmit it. That was my first grant writing experience too. So he asked if I would come in on that end of things, and I didn't really have time for it, but I thought it sounds so interesting when Tom Pratt also had approached me about this, told me about the radio station. I don't know if anyone saw this. There was a survey that went out last year.
Yes.
Last summer, I think. And we got quite a bit of engagement. So that's the first time I've heard about an island radio station, and I just thought the idea was so good. It was too good to miss being involved. From a writer or journalism standpoint, which is something that this island has sort of opened up for me professionally, personally. I thought it had so many great opportunities to just have one more platform and more immediate platform for local news. And so that's where I came in this fall. And that's still my driving personal involvement is, we do some local news. Matt and I have been doing this local news show. We're on episode 3.
Which will air on Monday.
And just getting, trying to get people involved, generate creativity and ideas, and the more I read about audio storytelling and radio journalism, and the possibilities are just endless. And you don't have to be really good. You can be really good at one thing, and the radio has room for you. It's a really incredible medium, the more I learn about it. So I've been working with them for the last couple months, or for the last 6 months or so, and also was very pushed, or felt strongly that starting it by streaming it online was the cheapest, fastest way to get, and most accessible way to get as many people interested and start hearing things and be involved, rather than wait until we have terrestrial station also. And this way we get momentum building, and we get some content out there. We hopefully get some listeners. We have a few, I think. The software tells
I
you.
can look, it's a little convoluted process, but I can look. The last time I looked, we had a grand total of 700 unique listeners that had listened in at some point, but that can literally be 1 second and move on. In full disclosure and fairness. And we had a bandwidth, so the bandwidth is more of a telling statement for how long someone has listened to. And the bandwidth was closer to 200, and our contract with Radio Echo gives us 1,000 a month, if I'm remembering right. And then our peak listener data is we had 27 listeners at one point. So, and that was during launch week.
So, we're gonna talk a little bit, besides our, just sort of the introduction to why we got involved and what it is. We'll walk you through the who, what, where, when, why, how, kind of details. And then also Matt will show everyone how to access it. If you haven't been, I've heard that, I don't know how to listen. And it is kind of a, you hear radio, you think you're gonna turn on your radio dial. And so it's just a different way to listen. And we'll go through what you need to listen. It should be very accessible, it should be very easy, but that's what we're going to just walk you through it and see if people listen at home. Can anybody, by a show of hands, how many people have actually listened?
That's
Been able to
what I
listen?
asked.
Okay, great. Here.
That was my question.
How do they
I
go?
wanna see how many people have actually
Oh,
streamed.
see, here, yeah.
It's
Oh, I
pretty
like,
easy to stream, yeah.
it is, but it is easy to stream, but if you've never done that, then maybe it's not. Maybe it's kind of an opaque thing. So that's why we just do it here. And the handout that we gave you will just be is a summation of what we're gonna talk about. And there's direct instructions and contact information and all of that.
And when you guys have like a committee, when you're working on actually putting the
Yeah.
instructions, so maybe.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes, sort of.
Sort of, way back there.
Well, and Betty's shaking her head. It wouldn't hurt if you used the
I can use
mic.
the mic, yeah, that's good, that's fine.
Testing, okay. So just a quick, we are an umbrella, under the umbrella of the TPAC, which means that we have a committee that makes decisions about the radio station and does basic operations and management. We also have about 12 or so volunteers now, give or take, who have come forward, who want to either produce a show or do voice work or do sound editing and tech stuff, which is, we need a lot of help with that. So as far as who's involved, there's the basic committee.
And as of last night, 2 of them are students.
Yep, we've got 2 student volunteers now, which is great. On the committee is Matt and I, Tom Pratt, Kevin Jones, Julian Hagan, Jim Sorensen, and then Talia DeYoung just joined, and she's our volunteer coordinator. And I have her information on that handout in case anyone wants to get involved. She's the person to talk to. So that's who is involved right now, but because it is a community radio station, we definitely want to represent all of the community, or as much of the community as we can. So if you even have an idea and you don't know how to launch it or how to get it off the ground or what to do with it, come talk to us, because we've got equipment, we've got all the things that we can do to help you get on the air if you wanted to, or record something, or do an interview, or do a little show. It doesn't have to be a weekly, hour-long, or every day. It could be a one-off if you just want to try something. We do share that mission, and I'm going to read it because I think it's really important. We do share the mission with the TPAC to provide and maintain a public facility in which creativity may flourish and encourage public participation and entertainment for residents and visitors of Washington Island. I don't think we could come up with a better mission statement than that for this radio station. So, who is involved? All of you, hopefully, or everyone on the island, visitors, anyone who will listen. And Matt's going to tell you what you're going to hear if you tune in.
So if you tune in, you will listen to. If you listen right now, and when we get to that point, we'll tune in. You will listen to John Alderfer live. He is actually doing his show live right now. And then we have the town board candidates. One aired yesterday, that was Larry. Lauren is airing today. Peter is airing tomorrow. They are airing 3 times. Once in the morning, once at noon, and once at, I believe, 7 p.m. I think it's 8, noon, and 7. And that is available to be listened to. If you are not listening to a live or predetermined show, so I also, when I decided to do some shows, I sprinkled in full classical literature, so a full classical piece. But then we have what is called a auto DJ, which takes the pile of music that we have said can be aired individually, and will randomly choose those songs based on what we have asked it to do in its program. So that allows us to have the station operational 24/7. So you can tune in at any point. If you're a night owl like me at 1 in the morning, or if you're a morning person like the vast majority of the committee, at 7 a.m., that's for you to be able to do. So we are trying to be primarily island artist focused, so there's a lot of association with the island for those artists. But we also have, because of the way copyright law is designed, we have copyright permission to play pretty much anything. So that's filters through. So John's show is a 50s and 60s rock show.
40s to 70s.
40s, there we go. Mainly 50s when I was listening.
Boomer Radio, that's the official name, Boomer Radio with John Alderfer. He broadcasts 1 to 4 o'clock, 5 days a week.
Tom's show is a blues show. One of the volunteers that was there last night wants to do, he didn't like the term world music, but basically a world music show. I am putting together with the same friend that got me into recording work. We are going to be trying to do a what I've called an active listening show. So we both have music, or he went to music school, he didn't graduate, but I graduated from music school, so we were both trained in the process of how to actively listen to music, and going through teaching people what we listen for and how we listen for it. So that's the show we're going to be working on, and I think we've settled on it being a serial show. So we'll pick a music type or what was that?
Genre.
No, not genre. So I'm blanking on the word, but like rhythm, tone, like even more detailed about how we approach listening to music, because those types of things hold throughout the genres. So so that's what you can be listening to, and then we have the talk radio news thing side, which is basically what Emily and I have been primarily focused on. So
Steve Rice is doing an Island Archives show. He's taking old sound recordings that were made on cassette tapes, a lot of them, and recorded stuff from very analog, and he's mining those, doing his own intros and things and adding to them, and then Kevin has to do quite a bit of sound editing for those, because so if you listen to them, it's a little rusty. There's not a lot of good ways to make it sound perfect, but it's kind of part of it, is to hear these old recordings and the way they were recorded in those voices from 40 years ago. So Steve's been putting together those. He's working on he's got his 3rd and 4th one done, and those are also on the website if you want to on demand listen to them, or they'll be programmed into the stream when he gets them to Kevin. So
and then Kevin does a show called
Yes.
Album Breakdown, where he interviews the artists who created the album and talks through the process of how they created an album.
he's got Ed Sheehy has done one, and Laura Sawasco has done one.
Yes, and then I approached him a couple days ago. A friend of mine who recently won a Grammy for a jazz album, and I asked him if he wanted to do that, and he said he would too. So
And we'd love to get Allison Russell to do it. That's one of my pie in the sky goals, but who knows? So that's what you're gonna hear right now, so far what we have, and then some jingles and some voices. We've been trying to record, Mel Jones recorded a bunch of the kids telling jokes at school. Those show up once in a while. Or I call them island, like, sound bites. So you ask me a question, get the answer. I did it with my interview with the Lions Club for Fish Derby. What's your island nickname? How did you get to the island? And then we'll intersperse those answers in with our music. So you're listening, and every once in a while you'll hear Liz Pratt laughing hysterically, or someone, Ivan Jones' story of how he got his nickname, or and with no intro or anything, just sort of this island voices that pop through. That's one of the things we've been trying to work on, and we could use help collecting audio clips. So if you are interested,
Do we need permission to collect them?
no, you can send them, and then we'll have to make sure they're okay to air.
Yeah. Well, that part I figured it was a no-brainer on that
No,
one.
and you can use your phone to
Yeah.
record just about anything, especially in short bursts like that. I mean, the audio quality is good enough to do those kind of short things.
Yeah.
So it's a lot. So that's what you'll hear. What about when you'll hear it? 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, which was something that sort of hit us after we launched it. This is great, this is so exciting. This first week is great. Now we have every other week and every other day to fill with content and
Yep.
have going. So I'm very grateful for the auto DJ. And
It is a
without that, we
little-
wouldn't be able to do it. We would have had to do a lot more to just get going. So, it launched in mid-February. The committee itself meets every Monday at 1, and we're trying to do a regular volunteer and producer meeting about once a month. We had one last night where we check in with the producers, the volunteers, see what they need, see where they're at in their process, basic organizational stuff like that. And anyone's welcome, to any of those meetings. We try to publicize them. Mostly things on social media. Our Facebook page is where you'll see a lot of schedule information. We would like to try to get more, like what you're doing with 13 locations. That's something we haven't thought about as much as getting a physical flyer and promotional items out there regularly. So working on that too. That's a good idea. Where's the station located? Let's talk about where this radio station is.
My house, Kevin's house, and Tom's garage.
Tom's garage.
We would like to eventually have a physical location, where, the pie in the sky dream would actually have it to be right in town on a main road. I don't really know how realistic that is.
You mean the old farmhouse?
It's realistic.
Yeah.
It's just gonna take
Yeah.
Emily is more optimistic. I admittedly am a little bit more pessimistic when it comes to those things. My mother can verify that. The actual physical location, there is space at the TPAC for some type of additional structure. That was the original plan, but having something on Main Road that's a little bit more visible would be clearly better. The transmitter location that, like I said, we're about 95% sure is locked in, is off of Town Line, so it's right here. And again, even with those locations, I still suspect that at least Kevin and I would still be doing quite a bit of work from our own personal places. But it would still be very nice to be able to have a place where visitors can really come in and see the projects as they're going on.
dedicated recording space.
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge thing. We're going to be actively fundraising for that purpose and pushing hard for that. And that's the long-term goal.
The beauty of it is, though, that somebody can be off island in Timbuktu, wherever, and still, if they have a laptop or a device to connect to the internet, they could feasibly broadcast from where they are,
Yep.
or record themselves, send it to us. So the accessibility of the online platform can't be understated or overstated, can't be overstated. So, yes, a brick and mortar facility is sort of a requirement. I feel like it needs a heart, and that would be the heart. But we also know that takes steps, and we don't want to rush into anything. And at least we've got something to listen to at this point, and ways for people to get involved. And then we'll just. I've learned going slowly on these kinds of things is probably the best way to go, and I think everybody in the committee is feeling the same way. That we have to make sure we're crossing our T's and dotting our I's before making big financial decisions and investments. So, let's see. How do you listen? This is Matt. Matt on the whiteboard. Can I narrate?
Yes.
Yes, I can.
So I'm gonna walk you through how you listen to it on the computer right here. And then I'm gonna ask anyone who is willing and wanting to pull out your cell phone, and we're gonna do it on your cell phone together as well. Because there is a little bit of differences with the cell phone in particular about long-term listening that I want you to be aware. So and what I mean by long-term listening is like listening to it over an hour or something like that. There's a little bit of tricks with the cell phone that makes it complicated. And that should be solved when we upgrade our service and get a dedicated app. But right now, we're not there yet because we don't have an app developer yet. So if you know someone, let us know.
So it's currently available to stream online. You can use your smartphone, your laptop, your tablet, some other kind of a desktop, a PC is fine too. And you want to go to www.washingtonradio.com, which is really easy. WashingtonIslandRadio.com. Sorry. That's way easier.
Is that all lowercase?
All lowercase, all one word, no spaces. And there you see Julian with his little newspaper. And right where it says click me, listen live in the arrow, if you click on that, you go right into the stream. That's what the stream looks like. Hit the play button and it shows the song that's currently playing and the artist. We don't have it yet where you can see the playlist that has played. There's John Denver.
Okay, John Denver.
And there's John Alderfer. Yeah.
What kind of software do you have to have on your computer?
Any web browsing software.
Any web browsing software. You don't need your computer already has a speaker. So unless you want a better speaker, and then you have a wireless speaker or something, whatever. You don't need any special software. You don't need to download anything. You just need to go to the website.
I found it. I didn't know you were trying
So the other thing that I have noticed is that if you know audio, this is no longer John Denver. This is Stairway to Heaven. The automated tell you what is listening, I have noticed sometimes is not always accurate. So just keep that in mind. Kevin is swamped with other things, and this is, quite frankly, not something that I'm too concerned about. So when he has more time, I'll ask him to fix that.
Yeah, I think it's a little late sometimes. Dan, you had a question?
No, I just had a comment.
Oh, okay.
We have Sonos, S-O-N-O-S system in our house, Sonos. And I was able to get it straight onto Sonos. So all I gotta do is just tap an icon on my Sonos and it comes right up to all the speakers in my house.
Awesome.
Yeah, Sonos is a nice audio, consumer audio for an entire house.
Yeah.
So have you thought about doing like Apple Podcasts or Spotify?
Because we have them on, we have
Right.
the shows on demand.
Yeah.
And eventually getting them as available as podcasts.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we've talked about it. Not there yet.
Okay.
But yeah.
Yeah.
If you're expressing interest.
I'm
Other radio stations, is it Beaver Islands? They have a lot of their shows available for podcasting as well. So that brings me actually into, so this is to listen live. If you want to listen what's streaming right now, this is how you do it. If you wanna go and listen to things that we have archived, that are pre-recorded and that we have, you can listen on demand, meaning you don't have to wait for them to play on the stream. Here's the homepage, go down to latest news, school board candidate interviews, the other candidate interviews, there's a listen button right there. This is our scoop show, and then it continues. If you hit old news, we only keep the things that are airing that week or the week before up, and then everything else kinda gets archived into old news, but you can get at it all through that.
Just so you're aware, if you were to click on either one of the candidate interviews,
Yeah, show what it does when you do that.
it takes you to each individual interview, so that you can listen to each individual interview in whatever order you would like.
Show what it, oh my gosh, I haven't seen their pictures yet. They're great.
And then the same for the town board candidate interviews.
Whoa.
Go to old news so we can see the archives and. So we got Steve's show, an interview we did with Joel.
That was our first interview,
Yeah,
so
it's good. Joel's a good interview. The launch, different, so anything we've recorded is on there under old news, or programs. You can also go to programs. And that's got Tom's Blues Show and Album Breakdown. We do not archive, like, John's got a show every 5 days a week, 3 hours long. Those are not on there. It's, we don't have the storage or the space, and he's doing a music show. So same with Tom's Main Road Blues. He was doing it every day. He's gone down to once a week now. But it was every day for 3 hours. So we don't have those to listen to on demand. But if you really wanted to hear them, they are saved somewhere, and get a hold of us and we can send them to you. So that's it really, to listen now. That's what you gotta do. Do we wanna do the phone thing?
I would like to do the phone thing.
Okay,
So
and then we
anyone
can
who-
open it up for questions.
If anyone who wants to pulls out your phone,
Yeah.
if you have an iPhone, you're going to be using Safari or Firefox, Google's. Or if you have an Android system, I assume it's Microsoft, but I'm not 100% sure on that one.
Edge.
It's Chrome.
Chrome, it's
Chrome or Edge, yeah.
Yeah.
So you just click on whichever web surfer you prefer, and you go to WashingtonIslandRadio.com. It'll work just like it does on the computer, and the mobile website is very, very similar to the actual physical website.
Yeah.
Kevin did a really good job of syncing those. He designed our whole website and did all that. Kevin Jones did.
So you just click on that. The issues that I have noticed from both comments and from personal usage of my phone is that and I don't exactly know the exact settings, but if you have a certain setting that shuts down your background programs, when your screen goes off, you will lose connection. So your screen will need to be on in order to listen. Or the bigger problem that I had is when I was traveling down to Chicago and streaming it, if I got a phone call,
Yes.
it cut it off entirely.
Yes.
And I would need to reload the website.
Yep.
So something to keep in mind, because I had my phone Bluetooth connected to my car and through CarPlay and was just going that way. But if you get a phone call, it will cut you off entirely, and there's nothing that we can do on our end to prevent that, and I'm not even sure there's anything that you can do in your phone settings
No,
to
because
restart.
you're using a browser. As soon as you use a browser, that interference or that disruption, disconnect, is a permanent thing. So the only way to get around that is when you guys develop your app.
And the app will prevent that.
And then it'll just mute it in the background, and then once the call ends, then it automatically brings back the app.
Just like when you listen to a podcast.
Yep.
I assumed
Exactly
that
like
that's
that.
how it would work, but thank you for confirming that that is how it will work.
Well, there is a macro you can write for that, but I'm not doing it.
I don't have the computer science
I don't
knowledge to
wanna
do
do
it
That's old school.
Some exciting news is when the funds are raised to build a transmitter site, and we are actually on Full Power FM, we have call letters, and what's the frequency? 98, WISL 98.7. So 98.7 WISL will be what you'll hear hopefully soon on the radio, but that's.
WFMT?
Questions?
Yeah, questions, let's open it up for that.
You wanna?
Oh, I don't need a mic.
No.
Is that AM or FM?
FM.
Okay.
FM, yeah.
My question is, and I really like the presentation, is if you're buying. I got it.
All right, Judy, now we know you.
Okay. If you buy a service and you're playing music like we were talking about earlier, what about getting old radio recordings of the shows we used to listen to?
Oh,
The Falcon.
The Lone Ranger.
What was it? The Phantom. How about that?
The Shadow.
You gotta say it right, Phantom.
Yeah, that would be something.
Right?
Internet
Those are
TV,
things like
but-
the Lone Ranger, Superman, stuff that, the Shadow, right?
I think I hear what you're asking is, can you rebroadcast, does it have to be original content, or can we rebroadcast radio shows from a long time ago, or stream someone else's podcast, or, that's a good question.
The short answer to that question is maybe.
Yeah,
The long answer to that question is, it very much depends who owns the copyright
Yeah,
laws.
that becomes
And
legal.
and specifically whether a for-profit station owns those rights. It very much lowers the probability of us being able to do that if a for-profit station owns those rights.
Because you have to pay.
But it could be looked at.
yeah,
What I'm saying is that I grew up before there was television, right? The only reason we got a television is to watch baseball. Anyway, if you had like a shadow, who knows what evil lurks in the hearts of man?
Sure.
This is stuff that I grew up with, I bet 90% of the people here grew up with those radios.
yeah, radio serials.
It is absolutely,
The serials.
it is absolutely something that we can look at in the future. I will say directly though, the committee as it is structured now does not have the time availability to do that much of a direct thing at this moment.
But if anybody wanted to look into that and find out
Look it
more
up.
of the
Yeah.
details on that,
As Wisconsin Public Radio,
yeah,
old time, at least a few years ago, old time radio was Saturday and Sunday night for 3 hours.
yeah,
Talk to Wisconsin Public Radio.
okay,
Wow.
We used to listen to that on our way back from the island
Right,
at 8 o'clock. It was
yeah,
on
8 o'clock to 11.
to 11.
Yeah.
That was important for my kids to
Yep.
listen, be quiet the way back home.
Yeah, yeah.
that's a good idea. And we have been reaching out to other non-for-profit FM, low power FM or not-for-profit radio stations to find out how they do things.
Yeah.
And that's a good idea, yeah.
Has Island Players shown any interest in doing radio theater?
Yes, I spoke with them November, I think, and they said that they were absolutely interested in doing a serial, performing show of some type, and that they would get back to me when they got back up here. in the
Joanne
summer.
and Howard are back,
Yeah.
they're back. But yeah, they have plans in the works. And that's kind of, the committee doesn't want to be the ones who are producing all the content or being an editorial, acting in an editorial capacity where we're saying, yes, no, you can do this, you can't do this. Nor do we want to have nonprofits or other organizations call us and say, can you come record X, Y, and Z? We can do that, but we really want to empower, say, the Art and Nature Center or the Island Players to produce their own content, and we're providing a platform for them.
With one exception.
Yeah.
And that exception is a big one, because this comes down from the FCC, which is we cannot promote a business of any type.
Right.
So we cannot say on the station, come support KKs or Mans or Middle Bar, and any for-profit business. The most we can say is, if they donate, because it is a tax-deductible donation, we are sponsored by said corporation. That is the most that we can say.
Okay, it's just like public radio, the same exact rules apply to us.
Alright, one more question.
Yeah,
It's, can you live stream or whatever you call it, like the baseball games? Right here, on the island, with our DJ.
Not having to use Brenda Cam.
yes, we want to. That is another thing we have to talk to that we are talking to WDOR about, because they have rights to the baseball feed, right? Something like that?
We are unclear how that exactly works.
Yeah, unless they have a license with, Peninsula, League, no, they don't.
Right, the discussion that I have put into the ether that is sort of getting to WDOR and to the Code, which is the other station, the for-profit station, is that we would like to just do the island baseball games, and because they only do one game a week, if they are choosing to do the island game, they would have the right to do it, unless they're okay with us also being there. But that we would step aside for them. So
Yeah, we
we're not
absolutely-
stepping on toes and yet still accomplishing.
Oh, yeah, you can always record it for a later broadcast.
Right, we absolutely want to do that, yes. That's been, Jimmy
Yeah.
Sorensen is, I mean, he's already involved in this, he's already involved in that, it's kind of a no-brainer to have him
He and I talked about it
calling
last
those
time,
games.
so.
Yeah. So yes, the answer is, that's in the works too. Are there any other questions? Yes,
So why should put
yes,
announcements out about luncheons and?
absolutely.
You can do a whole show.
You could have an hour a week if you want.
Yay, Tony!
And that's something one of our volunteers, is involved, going to be involved in when she gets back from England. Nina Herbst wants to be the cultural and nonprofit event, have a show that highlights those every week or every couple of weeks once the season really gets going. So she's gonna work on that when she gets back. She'd be somebody to talk to eventually too, but absolutely, I mean, even if your nonprofit has an idea that they wanna try, let us know and we can, get you started on recording and show you what to do and just play with it. I mean, especially if you only got 3 listeners, at that point.
More specifically, let Talia know.
Yeah, let Talia know. Yeah, she's the volunteer coordinator. She's really the one who's gonna be the best person to contact to get you in touch with the right person involved with it. She's the conduit. She's gonna be the Talia Dion. Yep. Her number and her contact information is all on that handout.
Yeah, back page.
Sally?
How would this affect possibly broadcasting music fest concerts? Because then you're getting into, and I don't know what happens with music fest, you're getting into union rules about rebroadcasting.
Sure.
But because it's a non-for-profit organization, I don't know whether the musicians union, of which everybody who plays is a member, whether there are extenuating circumstances that would have to be addressed to allow those programs to be broadcast without compensating the players.
Do you know, Sally, if the musicians unions that they are members of cover the island or Door County in particular?
Yeah.
I think those rules of, when you go into a concert and it is, union members, and if you go into Chicago Symphony Concert, you go into the Lyric Opera, and those are musicians union members all playing. The cover rules are no photography, no recording, you can't put your phone on and record that concert on your phone. You're not allowed to take photographs and everything.
Right.
So I don't know how that would affect the music fest, but if it's possible, that might be something that we should do, because there are a lot of people who would like to come who aren't able to come out at night and go to a concert or something.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, we would absolutely be interested in that. The Musicians Union was honestly something that I had not considered, because
My whole life.
the music that they're playing for the most part is no longer covered under copyright law. So, that's free and accessible. So the actual audio, if it were performed by non-union members, could be played without a doubt.
Non-union members, of course, but if you're
So-
going to do the music fest, you're dealing with union members.
Yeah.
We have to find that out.
Usually your contract is only in that specific state.
That's
or
how I understood it.
Specific, venue. Once it's outside the venue or state, then they are still technically union members, but those union rules are not applicable.
That's how I understood it, but it would be good to ask them, because that's why I'm curious if there's any union that actually covers Door County with its.
Yeah, because
Well,
there isn't
for
a blanket
I
thing for the
think-
United
Right.
States or anywhere else in the world.
If the Chicago Symphony travels to New York and they play at Carnegie Hall, those rules still
Yeah,
apply.
yeah,
But New York has its own union that covers that zone. That's where we're
Yeah, well, we
specifically.
don't know what union covers Door County.
Correct,
Yeah, but
that's
There's
what
a
needs to be
union that
answered.
covers Door County.
But when you go to another venue, you're taking the entire kit caboodle. There you're only taking pieces of it.
Well, I know we definitely want to broadcast live or record live music and play it. We've done it, Kevin put on a recording of Hans's band at KK's.
Yep.
We recorded Trinity, here at Trinity on Sunday. We recorded the St. Patrick's Day concert and we aired it on Tuesday, I think.
Yes.
That was our first try at doing that. Eventually, it'd be great to do live broadcasts from recording, or live recordings, you know. But that's something that if the Music Fest wants to broadcast the music on the radio, get your ducks in a row, let us know, and then, you know, the radio could do that. That's something we definitely wanna do, you know, jam sessions and fiddlers, whatever.
Yeah, I'm just warning that.
Yeah.
They are union members and there may be union rules
Definitely.
that you would have to jump through some other
Yeah,
hoops in
and-
order to do it.
Absolutely,
But,
I mean,
you
good
know,
thing to
something
think
goes-
about.
Yeah, something that goes on our St. Patrick's Day concert, as far as I know, I'm the only union member that participated,
Okay.
and I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm not active.
It's good to, I'm glad you brought it up, because it'll be a
Yeah.
good point to think about.
Something to watch.
Yeah, for sure, because, you know, we don't, between FCC, licensing, copyright law, you know, unions, there's a lot of potential pitfalls, you know, that,
Is there a program list? Is there a program list?
like a schedule,
Yeah.
not yet.
We are actively working on it.
Yeah, and eventually there'll be something that's on that website, there will be a tab that you can hit schedule, and it'll show you that schedule for the week. Right now, we don't really have enough programming, I mean, but for now, if you wanna know what's on when, that Facebook, that social media site, we don't really know a better way, unless we have an email list, we might do that, but right now, social media and making things available on demand are our best ways to make sure that everyone can listen at some point and know what's going on. So if you miss it when it streams, then you always have it on the website. Yep.
Would there be any advisability for having public service announcements like island road conditions, ferry delays, or no going by because of the weather, extreme weather warnings, that kind of stuff?
So I tell you this under one condition. You are all not allowed to go to the ferry line and talk to Hoyt. Am I clear? Yeah.
Sounds easier.
I have spoken with Hoyt, and he is at least open to the idea of considering notifying us, especially this time of year and in the fall when the ferries are more spread, of when they go off schedule and start, just to use their words, turning and burning. And then maybe he is less open to this yet, but he didn't tell me no. So Maybe the coveted 6 a.m. Fuel load. So, maybe.
Yes, especially once it's an FM, on the FM waves like that, regular bullet updates, weather bulletins, news updates, things like that, yes. Especially if we have a live DJ who is there. Right now, if there's any updates or anything, John or Tom has been announcing them. Tom he announced the ferry there was a ferry cancellation last week.
Oh, he did?
Because of the winds, yeah, both him and John check social media and kind of stay scrolling and stay looking and updated with what's going on around the island.
That would be easier.
That they can then update during their show.
That would be an easier sell once we have a physical location.
Yeah.
So.
Where there's one location, you've got an update from the ferry, they can just hit send instead of calling someone or figuring out who to get it to, kind of thing. As you can probably tell, there's still, I would say, somebody told me once that if you are 60% ready to do something, you should do it. And that is very much true for this radio station. We're about 60% got it going. But that extra 40 is a lot. And there's a lot that we're figuring out and learning as we go. We just felt like rather than spend more time debating and deciding and planning, we do what we can and then figure it out from there. So, to me, that's the best way to learn to do something like this. And it's the same with the kids who showed up at our meeting last night, rather than wait around, which eventually was like a radio club at school, as some sort of school involvement. But for now, we're doing this. If the kids want to get involved, we should make it accessible and just have them jump in and get involved, rather than wait. Yeah.
What's the limiting factor on going to low power FM?
Money.
How much?
A tower. Depending on Tom's been looking into this, it hovers anywhere between $15,000 and $20,000 to do the tower. 20 would be on the high end.
We think on the high end, I would want to raise closer to 25, just to be safe. And then for an actual physical location, we're talking probably another 20 to 25,000 more.
It all depends, we've had a couple of conversations with building owners, property owners on Main Road, and who are interested. It's not like we need a lot of space. It would be a small thing. And so it kind of depends on the arrangement. Are you renting a room? Do you have to do a lot of renovation to make it soundproof, et cetera, et cetera. But I think we could get physical brick and mortar off the ground with the low power for under $50,000, which to me is an attainable fundraising goal. When you're talking millions of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars big projects, those are daunting. But 50,000, you can do that, and it's accessible.
Are there any grants?
Yes.
That you can apply for?
Yes. The Community Foundation, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
The one that the room tax gets funneled into. It's 4 times a year through Destination Door County. We applied for that fall and did not get it, but we had a great conversation with some of their people who gave us notes on what we were writing for and how we were writing for it. And one of their suggestions was you need more skin in the game. But that was part of the reason we launched the streaming, is it shows that we're doing something, that we have community involvement, that we are raising some money already, that this isn't just an idea, it's an actual thing that's happening. And so they gave us pretty good not assurance, they can't do that, but in their own way, that if we reapplied with that new information, that we'd be like the candidate for that grant. Hopefully this summer, we'll either write it again this summer or fall.
So any funds that you raise, are they just going into some kind of escrow or something?
So that's a great question. So this has to do with the umbrella and the way we are structured as a 501c3. So the TPAC is a 501c3, so the donations are going through the TPAC. However, in order to make sure that the radio station is allowed to use those funds, it does need to be a restricted donation. So either if you're doing it via credit card, through PayPal, right on the note, Pat Clark, who is the bookkeeper for the TPAC, knows to look for that. If you donate via credit card, or if you donate via check, write it on a memo, or if you're giving cash to a TPAC person, simply stating that to us, and then we can put the necessary writing on it so that it goes into our fund.
So we designated that it's for the.
Yes, because otherwise it's going to go into the general fund of the TPAC.
And we did a business meeting, we sat in on a business meeting for a low power FM community radio station down in Illinois, on the border of Illinois. Tom went in person and the rest of us listened in. And I was shocked at how little money they were working with. They, under $5,000 a year in donations, less than that, even, under 3,000, I think.
They were structured slightly different.
They were.
So
They
their
were.
volunteers actually paid to be a part of the organization. And I'm not a huge fan of that.
But even with that, they had very, very minimal overhead. So it's like, once you get going, I think, you know, as for sustainability, a radio station doesn't have to be super expensive.
Yeah.
So that's really encouraging, because we are looking, you know, it's great to have all this momentum and raise all this money and do all this stuff, but then how do you support it? We go through that with the TPAC, we go through that with the REC, we go through that with all these wonderful institutions that we have up here, that we have them, and someone donates a bunch of money, and then how do we take care of them? This isn't quite like that. This has a long life without a lot of money involved, once we get it going. I believe that anyway, that's how I see it playing out. Yeah.
Any other questions? Well, I have about 35 minutes if you think of something, so I will stick around. And
Yeah.
thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much.